गिरिवरधारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी अब कुंज बिहारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी यशोदानंदन व्रज जन रंजन यशोदानंदन व्रज जन रंजन यमुना तीर वनचारी यमुना तीर वनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी जय राधा कुंज बिहारी यशोदानंदन व्रज जन रंजन यशोदानंदन व्रज जन रंजन यशोदानंदन व्रज जन रंजन यमुना तीर वनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य सतर सदस्यमान भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोस्वामी प्रभुपाद की जय अनंत कोटि वैष्णववृंद की जय रामाचार्य श्री हरिदास ठाकुर की जय प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद की जय श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गौ गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरि गोवर्धन की जय वृंदावन धाम की जय नवद्वीप धाम की जय स्वामी तो भक्तवृंद की जय All glories to the Assembled Lord. All glories to the Assembled Lord. All glories to the Assembled Lord. Thank you very much.
Audio unmuted, but shall I turn off the first one?
Ja, ja. Nee, aber kannst du doch die Trommel spielen.
Der Balarama spielt schon Trommel.
Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. I want to do full. Okay. Too long. This was it. Get ready yourself. I was special kirtan. I wanted more Prabhupada, and then he stopped. Okay. Hare Krishna devotees. Haribol. Yes. I put some. This was so exciting. Okay. Getting going. Okay.
Yes.
I lost an hour.
Oh, it's muted. I made you co-host.
I'm not. Okay, Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Can you just let me know you can hear me? Because it looks like.
Yes, Prabhuji, you're audible. You're audible. We can hear you.
Okay, thank you very much. So some of you may be expecting Lochana Nanda Prabhu from New York, but he had to pull out in the last minute. 1 minute, I'm just coming in. Why is it saying leave meeting?
Click leave meeting. First you need to leave. I think
I'm in.
Then click cancel. Yeah.
Okay, Hare Krishna. So I just jumped in the meantime, and my topic that I really want to do, which is something very special to me and hopefully special to you and special to my heart, is to talk about Srila Prabhupada, the personality. And I call this class, and I would like to call this class, Acintya Prabhupada. And the word I wanted to use, Acintya, inconceivable, is because that's exactly what not only Srila Prabhupada, but actually every spiritual personality is Acintya. And we'll go into why that is so in a moment. And the reason that I specifically want to talk about this topic, I'm actually, before I go there, let me just tell you, I'm not going to be quoting any spiritual references. I'm really bad at referencing scripture or anything like that. So this is really just a lot of stuff about Prabhupada and relationship with Prabhupada and feelings for Prabhupada, very much in the secondary mood of Ishan Prabhu. Ishan really has this relationship nicely established with Prabhupada and knows scriptures and all that. And I'm like a little tiny baby compared to him. So before I go any further, I just want to ask all the devotees, both online and present here, to really pray right now for me that I can be a little tool in Prabhupada's mouth, in Prabhupada's hand, a muppet, that I may speak something that will inspire and deepen your personal relationship, your personal realization and relationship with Srila Prabhupada. So I'm hoping that just because I have the topic in my head, and that this will just be a trigger for the real devotees and the bigger devotees to take up this topic and make it much, much, much bigger. So this is like really just an introduction to this topic, because that's all I'm qualified to do. And I'm praying, really, really praying. I really want devotees to take up this topic really seriously. And the topic really is about the personality of Srila Prabhupada. And the reason, one of the main reasons I want to get into that is because I hear a lot of people taking Srila Prabhupada, reading Prabhupada, hearing Prabhupada, and then saying something like, well, Prabhupada did this, and Prabhupada said this, and therefore this means that. And when they take that step where they mean, therefore this means that, we have to accept there's an element of speculation there. And we have to be very, very cautious and very conscious of this speculative little gray area. And the reason why I want to say this, and this is the reason why I want to give this talk and hopefully inspire others to give a much more elaborate, comprehensive, backed by Shastra talks, is because Srila Prabhupada is a person, a personality. And therefore, we can never actually know what Srila Prabhupada is going to say in any given situation, even though yesterday and last week, 10 times, same situation, Prabhupada gave 10 times the same answer. But right now, we may give him that same situation, and for one reason or another, not known to us, he can give a different answer, and he can give a different direction. So even if we know Srila Prabhupada, let's say completely, still we'll have a problem knowing exactly what he will say and what he'll do in that particular specific situation. And right now, we're in that situation a lot, because we know Srila Prabhupada actually incompletely. We don't know Srila Prabhupada even as much as we can know him right now with just the words that we have, the audios that we have. Still, it's very, very small compared to what we can have it. And that brings us kind of to the same point always, is read more, hear more, talk to other devotees about Prabhupada more. And in that way, we develop what Ishan has been really, really pushing for us to do for the whole free talks that he's given us so far, is to develop a real relationship with Prabhupada and a more intimate relationship with Prabhupada so things can happen. But really, first thing we have to realize, or I want devotees to accept and realize, is that we have very much an incomplete relationship with Srila Prabhupada. And that incompleteness is a great thing. Same thing like with Krishna. So we can say this, wow, I know Prabhupada this much, I love him already this much, I'm dedicated this much, but actually it's only 5% or 3%. And there's so much more to know about Prabhupada, which means I can get so much more inspired, so much more in love, and more dedicated to Prabhupada. So that should be our impetus, our gas pedal. That it's not, this is in no way, absolutely not in any way, a criticism of anyone. So please take what I'm sharing with you in that light, and please forgive me for not having any scriptural references to do that. So, so a lot of the stuff that what I'm going to try to say is that we can know a lot more about Srila Prabhupada by actually knowing Krishna, because most of our books and most of the information we have is actually information about Krishna. Because what do devotees write about? Srila Prabhupada, Rupa Goswami, Sanatana Goswami, all our Mahajans and Acharyas, they're actually telling us about Krishna, right? So then, and what does Krishna say most of the time? We have this in our books, that yes, okay, I'm God and I'm supreme, but your love and your relationship with my devotee is more important than your relationship and your service to me. So this is clear to us and has been established to us. So therefore, the relationship with Srila Prabhupada, the relationship with the bona fide spiritual master, is super, super important. And if, it's like our philosophy, we can know about the soul, and by knowing about the soul, we can get some clues and some more information, more realization about how God is, how Krishna is. Or the other way, we can learn about Krishna, and that same can be reflected back to the jiva, and we can understand the jiva ourselves more. So they both kind of reflect of each other. So similarly, a lot of the information, and please do correct me if I'm wrong, there's lots of senior devotees out there, is that a lot of the information we have about Lord Krishna can be transferred and is directly applicable to Srila Prabhupada. So one of the ways we can look at this is if we look at Sri Krishna and say, I know Sri Krishna, right? it's impossible to say that. Even Lord Balaram, even Ananta Shesha actually say they don't know Krishna, because forever Krishna is expanding into many, many pastimes and many activities, and the glorious activities, and Balaram and Ananta Shesha can't keep up. So if I say to you that, okay, I know Krishna, and Krishna is Lord Nrsingadev, that's it. Lord Nrsingadev get most angry and then kills Hiranyakashipu, and that's Krishna, that's God, right? You can say, no, of course not. That is one aspect, that is Krishna himself revealing and manifesting one of his particular moods by which we can know, wow, look at my Lord Krishna. He comes in this half man, half lion form to protect me and to protect Prahlad. And what a wonderful situation. Many devotees fall in love with that mode and that mood and that relationship and worship the Lord in that. And you know, maybe go back to the spiritual world in that situation. But that's not Krishna. It is Krishna, but it's not. So this is part of our Acintya Veda philosophy, is that is one aspect of Krishna. But there's another aspect of Krishna. And he shows it. Krishna is not like us, because Krishna can directly and does directly manifest into a completely new form, new personality with his own situation. And in that situation, in that form, he actually reveals an aspect or a greater aspect of his character, like Lord Ram, right? So many people love Lord Ram. Why? What does he show in that form? He shows himself as the greatest king, the greatest ruler, the greatest leader of humans. He shows himself as the greatest husband, and Sita shows herself as the greatest wife. And it's such a wonderful example for humanity. And people, again, learn that, see that about Krishna, you become attracted to that, and love that and serve that. And then we have Lord Krishna as Vishnu. Lord Krishna, we have him as God. And in that God form, there's this relationship with him as in awe and reverence. And he's worshipped in Vaikuntha in that mode and in that relationship. So Krishna himself has this unlimited possibility where he can manifest into any different form and show a particular side of himself. So now, when we look at Prabhupada, we have to know that Srila Prabhupada also has this huge range of personality and characteristics and the way he deals with us. And a big part of this is actually ingrained fully in our philosophy, which is personalism. As soon as we have personalism, we have, spiritually, we have this huge spectrum of the different possible ways that that person can deal with this particular place and this particular person in this particular situation. So therefore, to have this idea where we limit Prabhupada and kind of say or come to even a degree of speculation that he is like this or he does like this and that's it, a kind of black and white view of Srila Prabhupada. It's to say the least, it's limited. So therefore, all of us should actually very much desire to want to know Srila Prabhupada's every single aspect. And I really like what Ishan Prabhu has been teaching us these 3 days, is to deal with Prabhupada and to deal with Krishna actually in the subjective range. Subjective range means when Krishna or Prabhupada are teaching us their emotional side and their feeling side, their heart side, right? We get the theory also and the philosophy also, but we also ultimately have to come to awaken this devotional side. So, Srila Prabhupada.
How many hours did you do today?
Srila Prabhupada having his. Hey, well, yeah. So Srila Prabhupada having his multifaceted side puts us in a position where we can never actually really know how he would deal with a particular situation. But now what do we want to do as his representatives, as his disciples, is ultimately we know I'm a conditioned soul. Actually, I'm a conditioned soul. I do not want to deal with anybody in my conditioned state. I want to deal with this person or that person, this situation, according to the best example I know. And the best example I know is His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. For me, Srila Prabhupada is the perfect example of not a man, not a human, but a transcendentalist. So I would love and I want to be able to deal with everybody in every situation the way Srila Prabhupada does. So the way to do that, the only way we're going to really get to do that and have a chance of doing that, let's say more, we can never do that completely, is to actually get to know Srila Prabhupada more and more and more and more and more. So one of the ways we got to do that is we have, and where the Prabhupadanugas were very much focused very nicely on the Vani side, the Vani relationship with Srila Prabhupada. So Srila Prabhupada has transferred some aspect of himself and his character and who he is into the words, into the books, right? And we're reading with that and we're dealing with that Vani. But there is something else of that Vani. And some of you may have heard and you read that Srila Prabhupada says, just do this, just keep on doing this, just doing that, and Krishna will reveal, right? You often heard this word, reveal, right? So what does that reveal mean? Why should we even be using this word reveal? Why should he reveal? Everything should be in the books. Srila Prabhupada said many times, everything is in my books. But Srila Prabhupada is saying to us that there is aspects that you can understand in the books and in the philosophy. And then there's also, and we say it all the time actually, but how much we're conscious of it, I don't know, that Krishna is in the heart as Paramatma. What's that called? Chaitya Guru, right? Chaitya Guru. And his external manifestation is the bona fide spiritual master, who for us is Srila Prabhupada, even though he's not physically present in his Vapu, but he's in his word form. But still, there's a side of Krishna, and Prabhupada tells us that he will reveal. So that means Krishna still is dealing with us on a personal level from the heart region. And in that heart region, Krishna, he's seen us, he's seen that you read, or some of us may not read. That's another point. Some of us are just into doing some work for him, painting this, fixing this, or farming for him, or like many ladies. So Krishna will be there to reveal to us personally according to our loving relationship. So for this, let me just share with you. I hope I have it. I hope it's still there. No. Okay. Okay, just give me 1 second. Let me share this. Okay, sorry about that. Okay, so Sri Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita says to Arjuna, 10:10. This maybe should become a famous verse for us from the Bhagavad Gita. Krishna is saying to Arjuna that to those who are constantly devoted and worship me with love, I give them the understanding by which they can come to me. So here we can see this that directly Krishna is actually saying that I also communicate with you. I also will reveal stuff to you from within the heart. And this is normally not really discussed as such and not really focused upon. This is one of the ways that Sri Krishna, and I'm bringing this, I'm just talking about it with Krishna, I'm bringing this to say this about Srila Prabhupada, is that Srila Prabhupada also deals with us from within the heart to reveal stuff about us. And how and why do they reveal stuff about us? Listen to what Srila Prabhupada says in this purport. He says, Srila Prabhupada says, a person may have a bona fide spiritual master and may be attached to a spiritual organization. But still, if he is not intelligent enough to make progress, then Krishna from within gives him instructions so that he may ultimately come to him without difficulty. So similarly, Srila Prabhupada is there, and we're having, as Prabhupada is teaching us about how to deal with Krishna, we can take that same thing and place it in our dealing, in our relationship, reciprocal relationship with Srila Prabhupada. So with Srila Prabhupada, to the degree that we love him and serve him, to that degree, he will also reveal to us within the heart and communicate to us within the heart and tell us in particular situations, this way or go that way. But this takes what Bhagavad Gita just says here, devotional service. It's all about devotional desire, devotional sentiment, which we need to develop a personal relationship with Srila Prabhupada and Sri Krishna. So that aspect is really, really important. And the story I want to use in this particular example is the wives, in Krishna book, the story of the wives of the Brahmanas. The wives of the Brahmanas story, if you see that Krishna sent Balaram and the Gopas, Gopa, right? Gopas? Gopas, not Gopis. Gopas. He sent them to the Brahmanas and he said to them, go and tell them that Lord Krishna wants some food. And Balaram and his friends went to the Brahmanas, approached the Brahmanas who were busy conducting some yajna, and they said to them, Lord Krishna is hungry. Like, I'll add to what they said. Not that they said this is my speculation, but come on, look, you're worshipping God all the time in your yajnas and sacrifice and austerities. So here Krishna has come to you and he's asking directly for food, not just food or fire. Come and give him some food. And what happened? The Brahmanas couldn't recognize that. The Brahmanas were too busy in that academics, in their study of the Vedas. They were too busy in their sacrifice. They were too busy in their yogi principles. And they rejected. They said, no, this fire, this impersonal fire and this yajna that we're doing in our impersonalistic and Mayavadi consciousness is more important than higher. And who are you? Go away. So then Balaram was very shocked. He was like we would be, right? What's this? These are the Brahmanas, the ones who are supposed to know Krishna and God by the Vedic literature. And that somehow or other they don't recognize that Krishna, God, has come in his original personal form. So he went back to Krishna and said, Krishna. And he said, no. How come? He said, okay, don't worry about it. Okay, now go to the wives of the Brahmanas and ask them. So let's see what happens there. So then Lord Balaram went there with his Gopa friends and asked the wives, oh dear wives, we have come, Krishna and all of us, we're very hungry. Please, can you give us something to eat? Oh, wow, Krishna is hungry and Balaram, we have this chance to serve them. Immediately they packed all sorts of food and loaded Balaram up and the Gopas up with food, and I'm not sure if they just sent them with food or they went with them. I think they went with them, if I can be correct. And then I think they then came and associated with Balaram, Gopas and Krishna, and they became ecstatic. They started to manifest ecstatic symptoms of devotion. And when they came back home, the Brahmanas came home and what happened, blah, 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 and they could see that their wives had become ecstatic and were showing symptoms of ecstatic love. And that's when the Brahmanas said to their wives, wow, we made a big mistake. Now you are the guru. You are the guru, not me. And they were telling their wives that the wives would lead them. So this is of course, many of the stories in Krishna books show many things, and this particular story for me shows many things, but shows this aspect of how somehow or other, not somehow or other, we know, Ishan probably explained it to us, is that what Ishan was sharing with us for the past 3 lessons is that we also have to develop a heartfelt, heart-to-heart relationship with Krishna. And my focus, believe it or not, we are Krishna conscious, but is not Krishna. We'll talk about Krishna a lot, to reflect on the relationship between us and Prabhupada. Is that simultaneously as we are studying the philosophy and following his instructions and chanting Hare Krishna and doing all these wonderful austere things for Prabhupada's pleasure, is that we gotta take some steps to deal with Srila Prabhupada on a personal, I mean, it's all dealing with Prabhupada on a personal level, but more personal, let's say, more personal level, where we start to awaken and develop a heart attachment and a heart connection to Srila Prabhupada. You know, how many of us have much more of an attachment and much more of a relationship with our wife, with our kids, with our dog and cat and whatever? Why? How come? How come that personal relationship seems to be much stronger? I have a relationship with Mathura Prabhu here, and his relationship with me is stronger than my relationship with Prabhupada. How come? Srila Prabhupada is much more important to me, but because because of me in my conditioned state, in my physical living state, I see Mathurapati Prabhu as real, living, and he's with me, and I'm dealing with him every day, and we have conversations, we sing and dance together, but Prabhupada is not here. Krishna is not here. So Krishna stays far away, and we stay to some degree impersonal to his relationship. And exactly the same thing with Srila Prabhupada, because he's not here with me now in his Vapu form. But that is our lacking. The same way, look, Srila Prabhupada is teaching us, this is your lacking. Krishna is real. You can have a face-to-face relationship. Who told us this afternoon that Prabhupada is going to take us and bring us to Prabhupada and throw us at his feet and say, okay, shake hands with Krishna. This is your friend. We're not going to say this is God. Hopefully, we're going to
work hard for Krishna's mission.
Yeah, of course. So in the same way, Prabhupada is taking us and teaching us that you develop your own personal relationship with Krishna that becomes real, more real than your wife and kids and friends that you have in this material world. We are practicing to make Sri Krishna a real personality in our life. So exactly in the same way, you don't need to learn anything new, and I'm not teaching you anything more. Just what you are learning, studying, realizing, and following about your relationship with Krishna, you take that and you do that with Srila Prabhupada. Your bona fide, transcendental, Goloka Vrindavan resident. Okay, right now we're in relationship as Guru, as our Diksha Guru. But Srila Prabhupada is more than our Diksha Guru. He's our friend. He's our father. Right? And that intimate relationship, if we can develop that, makes our progress in spiritual life much easier and much better and much more blissful. And what is the biggest benefit of this? We carry, to the degree that we realize, to the degree that we develop an intimate relationship with Prabhupada, to that degree we carry Prabhupada in our heart, in our consciousness. And to the degree that you carry that, when you go and deal with people, you actually, let's say, externally behave towards them the way Prabhupada would, and they feel Prabhupada, because you're carrying Prabhupada, you're Prabhupada conscious, and they feel that, and they get, as we say, what was the sense? Emanating, Prema is emanating from Srila Prabhupada, emanating from the spiritual master, and we get that. So when you get that from the spiritual master Srila Prabhupada, to the degree that you carry that, you also become a light. You also become a smaller light down the line, and you emanate that light of Prabhupada, or that vibration of Prabhupada, or that love of Prabhupada that he has for Krishna. So you actually then can infect and help infect people with Prabhupada consciousness.
The moon give it to the stars.
Yeah, the moon gives it to the stars, and the stars gives it to the smaller stars. Yeah, there was a funny thing because I wrote it yesterday and then somebody said it in class today. I think it was Ishan this morning. Is I a little bit feel like we are in the position of Vasudeva. So Vasudeva, believe it or not, had put together the whole Vedas, all the Vedic literature, everything there was to be about God. He wrote it in the Vedas. I don't get how this happened, actually. I have questions about this, but I accept absolutely it happened. And then Sri Vyasadeva was there thinking and feeling that, okay, I have written about Karma Kanda, I've written about this, all the Vedic literature is there, but I'm incomplete. I don't feel satisfied. And why didn't he feel satisfied? Narad Muni came and revealed that thing to him. He said, you didn't personally describe the nature of Sri Krishna, the nature of his personal pastime. You do that and you'll feel satisfied. So then Vyasadeva went and wrote the natural commentary of the whole Vedas, the cream of all the Vedas, Srimad Bhagavatam. And what is Srimad Bhagavatam? A book full of the personal dealings of Sri Krishna and his devotees. And then when you go further, and if you ever get to the stage where you can read some of the books of the Goswamis that we're not ready to read, let's say, but you'll see there, it's all about Krishna dealing with devotees, devotees dealing with Krishna, relationship. So similarly, in the same way, our relationship with Srila Prabhupada is, I'm not speaking for everyone, of course, I'm more speaking for myself and I'm speaking for general. It's like we're reading all these books and doing all this activity, which is absolutely what we should do. I'm not saying to change anything. What I'm saying to add something, like Srila Prabhupada says, is then we may feel incomplete, like Vyasadeva felt incomplete. And what did Narad say to him? You didn't personally describe the personal activities of Sri Krishna. So for us, you are not in personal relationship with Srila Prabhupada. You have not, your personal relationship with Srila Prabhupada is lacking, is missing. And that's what we need to do more of. This Prabhupadanuga festival here in Europe and hosted very nicely by Mathurapati Prabhu. One of its fundamental reasons and purposes is to bring Prabhupada much more into our consciousness. We're aware that within Prabhupada's organization, ISKCON, that Srila Prabhupada is being shaded, is being blocked, is being shadowed. So what does that mean? We can't, where something is blocking us from reaching Prabhupada and getting to Prabhupada more, right? And then similarly, so we came out of that because we're saying, no, we want Prabhupada more. We want a direct connection to Prabhupada. Okay, fantastic, great. So now let's focus on that a lot more here within the Prabhupadanuga world and let people feel Srila Prabhupada through us, hear Prabhupada through us, experience Prabhupada through us by us becoming more Prabhupada conscious. So we're saying now, right now amongst us, we're saying that if we become Prabhupada conscious, if we become much more, sorry, you are Prabhupada conscious already, of course, I'll take that back. But let's become more Prabhupada consciousness. Let's introspect, as Ishan has been pushing us through this whole 3 lessons. Let's become more introspective, and always look at ourselves and, am I doing what I need to do to become more Prabhupada conscious, more lover of Prabhupada? Because as I do that, all the problems within our own society will be solved, and we become the greatest torch, carrying not a fire, not a light, but carrying Prabhupada, carrying Prabhupada's mood, Prabhupada's heart, Prabhupada's love for Krishna, and able to give it to people. Right? That happens in Srila Prabhupada's books. That's what the books are. Books are actually directly a manifestation of Prabhupada, an extension of Prabhupada's personality. It's his deity, basically. But we give that to the devotees. But now, these people, how much do they relate to the books? How much do they read? How much do they follow? That aspect is there. But we as devotees, when we come and we give them association, or we say to them, come here, come to us, come and get association. So when they come and get association, what are we full of? What are we emanating? Our own false ego, our own desires, our own speculation. We want to emanate Prabhupada. We know Prabhupada is the purest form of transcendental knowledge, Divya Gyan, and that they should get. So really what I'm saying with this is please become a lot more personal with Srila Prabhupada. You know, I've heard, I haven't even done it myself, I'll openly admit that, is that we should, before going to sleep at night, we should say a prayer to Prabhupada, offer what we did for Prabhupada that day. We should write a Vyasa Puja offering as devotees are encouraging right now. But actually, just what does Prabhupada teach us? Whatever we're doing, be Krishna conscious. So in the same time, whatever we're doing, be Prabhupada conscious. And I'll say this. I have never ever been Prabhupada conscious and not Krishna conscious. For me, as soon as I think of Prabhupada, boom, Krishna conscious. It's a wonderful thing, actually. But if I think of my wife, I can think of many other things without thinking of Krishna. And if I think of my father and mother, so many other people, many other personalities, when we think of them, we don't think of Krishna. But with Srila Prabhupada, from day one to now, whenever I think of Prabhupada, it automatically includes Krishna and the whole spiritual world. So don't come with this idea that, oh, well, if you're Prabhupada conscious, you're going to forget Krishna. It's kind of nonsense. It can't happen. It simultaneously can't exist. If you're Prabhupada conscious, you're directly Krishna conscious. So, and yeah, sorry, just one little thing that just came from my notes is it's a very beautiful dynamic what happens actually. Most of us, me also, I had this experience in my path to Krishna consciousness. I came and I read the book and I wasn't focused on Prabhupada. I wasn't aware of Prabhupada, although I was reading his Science of Self-Realization. But Prabhupada was giving me Krishna. And I appreciated that and loved that so much, so attractive. And then after some time, what I saw happen was Krishna was then turning around as naturally he would in any loving relationship. He was giving me Prabhupada. Why? Because that's his beloved. So Prabhupada's beloved is Krishna. So he's going to just talk about Krishna and guide us Krishna. He's going to say, don't worship me. Don't focus on me. Focus on Krishna, focus on Krishna. Which is what you'll read and what you'll come across. And that is true from the devotee's point of view. But then Krishna is telling us and showing us, no, you go to my devotee. My devotee is more glorious than me. If you worship my devotee, you're more my devotee than coming directly to me. Why is Krishna doing that? Because personalism, personalist, personal relationship. Krishna loves Prabhupada. And what happens when he turns you to Prabhupada? Then Prabhupada says, no. Krishna is this, Krishna is that, Krishna, wonderful, wonderful Krishna, beautiful Krishna, wonderful. And he takes Krishna. And then Krishna says, no, go to my beloved devotee. He's there, he's this, he's that, he's higher. And there's a kind of ping pong between the Guru and Krishna. And this is forever going higher and higher and higher and taking you until you appear and open, but your original spiritual love and spiritual feelings that you have originally become fully revealed. Then you'll be experiencing this original pure love that we have, which we can call Prema Bhakti, right? Prema Bhakti for both Krishna and for Prabhupada. And that is the perfection of life. That is the perfection of life. So I think that's all I have to say. Yeah, one more thing. Yeah, Srila Prabhupada is not dead. You know, this is a concept that unfortunately is there in some aspects of Krishna conscious society, and we really have to fight that, not in a bad way, not in a foul way. We have to fight that the way Prabhupada would fight it, and look at how Prabhupada fought these elements, and do it the same as Prabhupada. Don't bring your material to deal with it, because it's not representing Srila Prabhupada. But the same way they're saying Srila Prabhupada is dead and in the past. No, Srila Prabhupada lives on. He lives on in his books and in his words, and he lives on in the heart of you if you are devoted to him. So Srila Prabhupada is not limited to what he said in his book. Sometimes I get this, that, oh, this, and Srila Prabhupada said that, and Srila Prabhupada, and that's how we can only know him. No, that's not true. With me and Prabhupada is going to go beyond the books, goes beyond the books. It goes, you know, the books are bringing me to a certain level and a certain relationship, but then personal relationship with Prabhupada is going to be higher. Personal relationship with Krishna is going to take time, as this word reveal states. So Prabhupada is not limited to books. There's personal relationship that he's as Krishna can talk to you from the heart and reveal more about him, so does Prabhupada, and so will Prabhupada reveal more. So when we get the association of great devotees like Ishan Prabhu, who have heart, and we get their association, that is actually an easier, quicker way to get into more of a personal relationship with Prabhupada, and the same principle is with Krishna. So what does Chaitanya Mahaprabhu say to us in Chaitanya Charitamrita? Is find someone or associate with someone that has this love for Krishna, and you will get their emanations. You will get this emanations, as we sing in the book, and Ishan Prabhu told us this morning, sing the song. From Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada has this prema bhakti. Prabhupada is a resident of Vrindavan. Be absolutely sure about that. He's a Goloka resident. And that's why he can take us there. That's why Goloka Prema emanates from him. And that's why developing our relationship with Prabhupada is the single most important thing we can ever do to get that prema from him that he is experiencing, to revive and reveal our own original prema beyond our original prema. Like if we were in the Vaikuntha planets in Vishnu Loka worshipping God as God, now in Kali Yuga, by the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, we can now get into the Leela of Goloka Vrindavan. And I missed a very important point that I just remembered. I wanted to call this Acintya Prabhupada, and I want to explain more what is this thing Acintya? Why is it Acintya or whatever? And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu actually reveals this more to us in his particular form. If you look at Krishna, if you look at Ram, and if you look at some other forms of God, maybe, please again, correct me if I'm wrong, is that you can look at Ram and he's following like rules and regulations, and everything about him is like written, right? He behaves like this. The women asked him, can you marry me? He said, no, I'm just a one-woman man, and I married just Sita, and that's it. So the character of Lord Ram and Lord Vishnu to some large degree is, let's say, it's not really, but let's say limited. We can't know it. But Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, in this particular form, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu comes as what? Namo Mahavadanyaya, right? The most merciful, the most magnanimous. So this mercy aspect of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, this is the Acintya aspect. This is the aspect that we cannot understand. You can never understand or know how mercy and pure love will act, because both mercy and pure love are outside of the scope of any formula or any rules. You can't say this love and this mercy is going to behave like this right now. So Srila Prabhupada is directly the manifestation of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mercy and the ambassador for mercy. And this is why, one reason why, that Srila Prabhupada is Acintya. When we're dealing with mercy, and we have to understand that in Kali Yuga, we are all mercy cases. None of us are doing anything to deserve anything. We're just a little tiny service by which we attract the mercy of Srila Prabhupada, by which we attract the mercy of Lord Chaitanya. Get the mercy. And that mercy doesn't have any rules, like Mathurapati was asking this afternoon. How come? I can't understand it. How come I was the lowest of the low? I did everything like Jagai Madai except kill. But
I'm saying it's
a little
little bit.
I did, but, I did everything, but still, when I got the Bhagavad Gita, boom, immediately awoken to some spiritual attraction and decided to give his life to Prabhupada. But he gave this book, he gave the same book to people that he knew that were better than him in the mode of goodness better. But nothing happened much with them, let's say. Right? Why? Well, you can't understand. I can't understand. I got Srila Prabhupada 1994 came in his book form and just boom, land on my lap. And I'm like, from that time to now, I wonder, what the hell did I do to get this? I can't see it. I can't find it. So I just accept it as Acintya, inconceivable. And that's because of Srila Prabhupada's mercy. And that's what we can also focus on when we're giving something to someone. Never ever say, I don't think so, it won't happen. No, Prabhupada wasn't like that. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wasn't like that. We read CC this morning. What did he say? When we read Isham read the CC, there was a part that said Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was giving it to those who were qualified or unqualified, or wanted it or didn't want it. So when you represent that mercy line, it doesn't have any judgment, it doesn't have any rules. Just try to give Krishna consciousness to anybody. Just try to give and just see what happens. Because we give, and then it depends on them, how much they take and how much they accept. But still, let's try our best to be a little bit like Prabhupada, be more Prabhupada conscious, to somehow inspire them to take more interest, to take the book, to read the book. And pretty much, one really important fact is how we deal with people. And the best way to deal with people is to be Prabhupada conscious. So thank you very much for your time. And sorry if I talked a whole lot of nonsense and poisoned you with a whole lot of contamination. Yeah, please don't take up.
I was at first.
Yeah, 1 minute. Mathura Prati Prabhu.
Yeah, it was very nice explanation. I wanted to say that, you said that we should not limit to the books, but actually the books are not limited. So,
yes, he's right.
Yes.
Because the books are also living.
Yeah. This I wanted to hear. Otherwise, everything perfect. Yeah, but the point is that if someone goes further with this, so the books are limited, or we should have them. I know not only one devotee, and they always say they read not all books because they are not so. The capacity is not for everyone to read all the books, especially not in Kali Yuga. Everyone of us, and therefore, because it is so needs so much strength for the brain and mind or whatever. And they start to say, I have personal relationship with Super Soul. So, and what I take now examples what he did. Okay, Super Soul is speaking to everyone, so even to a killer. Even he gets some instruction to do some, I don't know, I forget from this life, then super soul give everyone something. But direct instruction from super soul, they say so many nonsense, and they say super soul has spoken to me, or Prabhupada has spoken to me. But they believe it, really. It's for sure. They are believing this, but I'm not. There's something other I don't know. I cannot sign it. I'm not pure devotee, but I'm sure that's mostly not true. But they want something from their own ego to do something in the private life or something, and because they want not to have a, they say super soul and something. Therefore, I always tell them, whatever it should be done, this green jacket or something, okay, it's not the point. Basics and of the basics, the service, what to do in the morning up to the basics, and then later how to preach. Okay, it can little bit freestyle, how I give a book or whatever. But mainly, we should take it from books and instruction of Prabhupada, because it's not limited. But otherwise, because Bhagavad Gita is, Krishna says, only someone can get direct instruction by Super Soul who overcomes, means he's liberated. Because the mind is like a cover, together with the false ego of the real self. And if we are not free, it can be always that some voice is coming or some thoughts, and we are thinking, okay, that's now super. But actually, it is my own false ego, my cheating tendency, my cheating tendency. But I don't want to know it like cheating tendency. Otherwise, Maya would be not Maya if I can directly see it. So then I say, okay, that's super soul, that's Prabhupada. And then if I show them, look, but it looks like the Prabhupada say to, let's say a similar case, I don't know, you should follow really this, or better take it here from this example. So they say, no, super soul told me, and so that's the so everything free because I'm feeling Krishna told me like this. But actually there's also some story, maybe you know in which place there was one Brahmana, he was reading Ramchandra Leela, and it was Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he was going out, and in the morning he was sitting and reading Leela, in the evening Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came back, and again the same Brahmana was sitting there and read the Leela, and then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asked him, hey Brahmana, you have not eaten, want to eat nothing, you're not hungry? And the Brahmana, what? You're crazy! Sita is and you're thinking of eating. So then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu smiled. You go, you know, this. So this book is not limited. It is completely, this book is in same time. Vrindavan, Mayapur, Navadvip, Dwaraka, Jagannath Puri, everything. So only if we are not on the platform, okay, then maybe it looks like limited, but if you go to, so even I can only tell the Leela, but I would also be happy to have such a nice experience. But if we read more and more and go deeper, maybe we can be happy. It can be like this.
Not maybe.
This, yeah.
I'm saying absolutely.
Yeah, yes. And then the door of this book goes open. Prabhupada says sometimes, and I think it was in Srimad Bhagavatam. Between the lines and the words, we can see Krishna face to face in every line. But we are not on this platform. But if we go deeper and deeper, then we can catch it. So inside. And this is the point.
Yeah. Actually, so what my point was more, not rather than you get some instruction to go to someone or rape someone or distribute books and throw them in the river or something like that. Not about instruction. It was more about, look, Krishna is personal. And where our philosophy is to develop a personal relationship with Krishna, right? We know that. And we're trying to do that. And we don't focus so much or not at all on simultaneously develop a personal relation with Srila Prabhupada. In the first prayer, if you look at it, the first prayer we offer in the morning is not to Krishna. Isn't that interesting?
Yes.
The first prayer is to Srila Prabhupada, for us is to Prabhupada, Samsara Dharma, glorifying and establishing a relationship with Prabhupada. And then Nishingadev, and not even the first song about Radha Krishna, Nishingadev is there. And then the next song is Govindam, and then again we're worshipping Sri Guru, Srila Prabhupada. Again, glorification of Prabhupada. So look at the songs and you can see how much focus is there on my personal relationship with Srila Prabhupada.
Yes.
That has to become deeper, deeper, deeper. We're seeing, everybody is saying in ISKCON, what's the damn problem? The problem is we have forgotten Prabhupada. We are forgetting Prabhupada. Prabhupada is being neglected. Prabhupada is being forgotten. Prabhupada is being replaced. Right? Even ISKCON, who are doing this, or the leaders, sorry, I won't say it, there's many innocent members there, but the leaders who are doing this, right? They're doing this, and many among them and among the followers are coming to the same realization. We are having problems. Why realize what we realized already years ago, is that Srila Prabhupada is being covered.
Yes.
So put Prabhupada back in the center of that organization.
Hari.
That's collectiveness, but more importantly, me and you put Srila Prabhupada back in the center, or maybe he wasn't there ever, but put Prabhupada more in the center of your own heart, in the center of your own consciousness. So what I was saying more actually then is when and where will Krishna and Prabhupada reveal more and is a personal relationship, your personal relationship with them to grow. Don't think that Prabhupada's not here, he's dead and gone. Well, Krishna is not here. We don't say he's dead and gone. We accept Krishna is not physically amongst us, but we're trying to develop and cultivate a whole lifestyle to make Krishna real. So that should be done with Prabhupada also. Absolutely. I come here, and I love it. I'm loving my association with all these wonderful devotees here. Why? I could go to so many places, I've got so many invitations, right? But I come here and I love it here. Why? Because they are like-minded devotees. They have Prabhupada in their mind, in their consciousness, and they want to put Prabhupada in the center of their life. And I want to do that also. So together we ride in the same wave. It's not one person pulling this way for some other guru, and some person pulling that way for some other guru. You know, I have to say, I'm sorry, usually I don't criticize, but when I go to Mayapur, one of the things I always get upset about, it's the only thing actually, is in Prabhupada's Guru Puja, I see like 2,000 people are there and 750 are pulled somewhere else, you know, looking at the deities, walking around doing this, chatting here, chatting there, and only 200 devotees or even less than that looking at Prabhupada and focusing on Prabhupada at Guru Puja. So this shouldn't be like that. In Srila Prabhupada's movement and in our organization and in our Sangha, in every Sangha where Srila Prabhupada is the leader or should be the leader, our focus should be on Prabhupada much more. And I'm telling you this as a fact. I'm just realizing more that the more we are Prabhupada conscious, the more we are Krishna conscious.
Yes.
The less we are Prabhupada conscious, the less we are Krishna conscious. And there's even statements like that, right? That if we're not worshipping deeply and in love with the spiritual master, that door to Krishna is closed, especially in Kali Yuga. So you got to see, even Christians, right? Sorry to bring this up, but even Christians have that idea. The door to God is through Jesus. That is exactly correct and exactly the same with others. The door to Krishna is through the bona fide spiritual master, who for us, fortunately for this time, is Srila Prabhupada. So that's what I meant by coming into relationship, and don't have this idea that Prabhupada's gone. Have the opposite idea. Prabhupada is present. You make it by your consciousness. if you don't have that consciousness, or it's small and it's weak, which most associate with devotees that do. I highly right now, I advise you, get as much association as you can with Ishan Prabhu. Ishan Prabhu, I see, has so much love, developed love and affection and attachment to Srila Prabhupada. And if you find anyone else like that around you, yeah, no,
Jan, oh yes.
Rath Yatra.
Jana,
I'm saying Jananivas, head pujari of mine.
Jana, oh,
What is Rath Yatra? Rath Yatra, we should worship him. Everybody's telling me.
Jayananda.
Jayananda. Sorry. So Jayananda, actually, a great example. He said, yes, follow Jayananda in this example. He loved Prabhupada. He did everything with Prabhupada. He was so Prabhupada conscious. That's why people loved him. That's why people were attracted to him. That's why people wanted to serve under him immediately. Jayananda, how can I help you? How can I help you? Because Jayananda carried Prabhupada so nicely, so deeply, and he interacted and dealt with people as Prabhupada did. You see, we all see, how many times devotees said that when they saw Prabhupada, they just started to cry. When they saw Prabhupada, they just fell to the ground, first time. And they immediately, or after some time, it doesn't matter, but as soon as they dealt with Prabhupada, they come to this realization. Here is a person that knows God. Here is a person I can trust. Here is a person that won't cheat me. Here is a person that is only doing what he is doing for me, my spiritual self. Therefore, I surrender to him. I want to serve under him. Right? So that was Prabhupada. And then Jayananda imbibed that and behaved. He was like a little Prabhupada, let's say. So then people were attracted to him and wanted to serve under him and follow him in that respect to serve Prabhupada. So we should all become like that. So yeah, that's a great one, actually.
Yeah, therefore, but Prabhupada say that, let's give an example of Bon Maharaj, a disciple of, a so-called disciple of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati. But actually, even Prabhupada say that Bon Maharaj was never, there's a letter, everyone can Google it, I don't know exactly the date. Prabhupada say, actually, Bon Maharaj was never a disciple of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati. He said only by lips. But actually, he said in this letter, he was a disciple of Vivekananda. So that means how we can prove it, that we are following Prabhupada, have some love for Prabhupada. So we can say so many things. I love Prabhupada, Jayananda have full surrender to his life, okay. Practically, we can see something. He was not sitting on the on Facebook maybe or something, okay. But okay, today many devotees are sitting on Facebook and preaching. Okay, it's also some kind of preaching, but really it can be more expand also. But it is. Prabhupada said, if you really want to please me, if you have money, print books or help me to expand this Sankirtan movement. Yeah. That's really, if we give how much fortune or energy of our 100 energy of life we give to Prabhupada, that can be proved how much love you have really for Prabhupada. Even if they ask or whatever, if someone gives 10%, okay, it's nice, we can see it. He has so much and so much money, maybe as Grihasta. How much money he gives to some books or to build some temples, even outside of maybe his control, if he cannot do it, and he should give it to others. If not, then he can do it. But if he have the money and do it and only speak maybe much, okay, it's also some fortune to glorify Prabhupada or something. But I want to see, I believe mostly if someone say, okay, I love Prabhupada, okay, how many books you have distributed? How much, or if you not distribute books, okay, then how much you help other book distributor with money and then go hard for work and sweat for this in your work, and then give the money. If you cannot speak with people on this, give it to the others, open this, and then I say, okay, then I believe he is loving Prabhupada. If he is only speaking maybe someone on Facebook, I say, okay, he can nice speak on Facebook also, it's also nice. but more nicer, then we can have this much and this much energy, some are giving direct profit. I have never read the Prabhupada say, stay Facebook and then every day send 5 Prabhupada quotes, and that I have to make my pens on today. And now I can make everything on or whatever, I don't know what someone is doing.
Yeah.
Maybe even worship Prabhupada every day and defending Prabhupada in discussions. Okay, it's everything Prabhupada say good. But if you really want to please me, look for this preaching. So print books, distribute books, help others with the book, give the money for the book, and then, okay. Otherwise, I would say, oh yes, very good love. And because many devotees, they can speak so nicely.
Okay, we heard.
But then we want to see
Thank you.
practical something.
All right, you see, this
Not
is
right?
perfect. You see, this is Mathurapati, personal, right? His mood, what he's into and he wants to do is distribute books, make devotees, and do this. Wonderful, excellent. And that is perfect for him and perfect relationship with Prabhupada. And Prabhupada is going to reciprocate with it. But go to the housewives, they didn't go out on books. They didn't distribute books. The Brahmanas were doing yajnas. So everything that Prabhupada said to us always.
So this good books. There's a lot of problems.
Wait.
1 point, only the 1 point that last, really. Look, even it was discussed.
The wives of the Brahmanas distributed books.
Let me say, Prabhupada said in one discussion with someone, this was discussed with me, and I think maybe even on Facebook many years before. I was searching so many times for this letter or discussion. Maybe if someone here now and can find it, please give it to me. I need this proof for someone
quickly. I will forget what I want to say.
Yeah. And the mood of the gopis. Why Radharani? Why
Not gopis? I said wives of the Brahmanas.
But at first, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Krishna came as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu because Krishna could not understand even Radharani. Okay, wow, my God, what is in my body features so nicely that she gave all this love to me. I want to feel it. Okay, and then Radharani why is Radharani feeling 1,000 times more spiritual ecstasy like Krishna? Because of devotion, so serving Krishna means more spiritual pleasure. So if Radharani give a date with other devotees for Krishna, she get 1,000 times more pleasure. If mostly the gopis and manjaris, they're always arranging a date with Radharani and Krishna, and then they get 1,000 times more pleasure. So what we are doing as book distributor, we give Krishna to others. And so that means we are doing the job of all the Vrij Basis and Vrindavan. We give Krishna to everyone, so therefore we get this pleasure and we can stay always in ecstasy and this Sankirtan movement, because we are not enjoying Krishna for our own, because Radharani is also not always only for, she wants also to distribute Krishna to other gopis, and other gopis want to especially to distribute always how to bring Krishna always together with Radharani. That's the main mission in Vrindavan. And what we are doing is especially bring everyone together with Krishna. That's the same, like don't see the books. You can do it with books, or you can do it like the gopis is doing without books. This is also book distribution for me, in my vision. You see? So therefore, the heart
of a book distributor sees everything in book distribution.
Yeah, because this book is not book, it's Krishna.
Yeah, of course.
If you see the book, okay, then you can say there's no book distribution in Vrindavan, but there is book distribution in form of distributing Krishna to others. Especially all the gopis and gopas, they only sing in Vrindavan. There's only one service to bring always, if there's some quarrel between Radha and Krishna, they find out the problem. Immediately, Vrinda Devi is looking, no, this cannot be possible. The parrots flying and GBC reporter, this is going on. How we can solve the problem? Radharani don't want to see Krishna. The gopis are thinking, oh, this must be the solution. So, and now we are thinking, this souls are suffering, how we can bring it together with Krishna. Then we give him Krishna from the book. So what is the difference now?
His original question, which was half an hour ago.
So-
He said, how can we know the difference between somebody who's doing something real or if it's just some pretend and speculation stuff? So this, Srila Prabhupada said, this is a science. So science for us in every aspect of our devotional life, please learn this and realize it. There must be symptoms. By symptoms, you can understand everything. And by symptoms, you can take the analogy of, you can judge a tree by the fruit. So if the fruit, if a good fruit is there, you have to accept that the tree is working. You can't say, oh, good fruit, but bad tree. Impossible. If there's a good fruit, automatically good tree. So if the symptoms are there, it proves that the process is there. So when you ask that, how do we know somebody really loves Prabhupada? The symptom must be there. What is that symptom? Right? If I say to my wife, or if I say to somebody, I love my wife, they're gonna say to me,
services is in.
I don't think so. I say, of course I love my wife. I love
Service.
No, you don't love your wife. Why? How you know? When you're with us, you never talk about her. We never experience her in your presence because you don't talk about her. You're not carrying her. You're not feeling her. So the symptom of somebody who really loves Prabhupada is they're always talking about Prabhupada. Did you see the heart of a book distributor just now? Mathurapadi is a book distributor full on. Wonderful Prema service. Prema Sankirtan, this devotee, right? But you just saw how he sees everything in relation to book distribution. So similarly, somebody who loves Prabhupada will see and connect everything to Srila Prabhupada. So if you have someone that you're associating with, and they're not talking about Prabhupada, you don't hear Prabhupada from their mouth. What do you hear? I did this, I did that, I this, I that, I. Even sometimes I hear this a lot when they're talking about Prabhupada. The so-called talking about Prabhupada, but it's turned and said, it's kind of pointing the finger to me. So that's not it. Or okay, it's better than nothing because at least Prabhupada is there. But by symptoms, you got to know how to judge and then judge nicely to choose your association. So, any girl will teach you this lesson. You go to a girl and say, I love you. You say, no, you don't. You talk about football more than me. You go and serve your friends. You talk about your friends more than me. You talk about your job more than me. Your friends don't tell me that you talk about me. So very clear, one sentence. If somebody loves someone, they cannot stop talking about them. Why? Because they can't stop thinking about them. Why are they thinking about them? Because they love them. So if love is awakened, that's what they will think about. If that's all they think about, that's all they will talk about. If that's all they talk about, that's all you will hear from them. So that's the science. And coming back to
Haribo.
Ajay.
Haribo. Coming there too. Haribo.
Coming back to your point about books or book distribution, Ishan Prabhu, right? Was it Ishan Prabhu that said to us, or somebody asked Prabhupada, which service pleases you the most? It was Janas Priya Prabhu. Janas Priya said, he asked Prabhupada, which service pleases you the most? And so everybody, book distributors were there in the temple, everybody was there. And let's see what Prabhupada's going to say. Of course, he's going to say books, right? And what did he say? He didn't say distribute books. They love Krishna.
But he said,
What did he say?
Love Krishna. When Prabhupada gave his answer, what's the most pleasing service? It's okay, you love Krishna. And that is the aim of our Krishna consciousness, you see? Like the Brahmanas, we shouldn't get completely entangled in this, that, and the other, and not develop love for Prabhupada, or not develop love for Krishna. You have to understand, aim, this service, and we're doing all this service following the instructions of Srila Prabhupada, to awaken love for Krishna and Prabhupada. So if that's not awakening in you, if you don't feel that in you every day or every month, getting a little bit more, getting more taste for experiencing a bit more, let's call love or attachment or attraction to Krishna and to Prabhupada, and that automatically means less attraction. That's another symptom by which you can judge people, is less attraction to materialism and more attraction to Krishna. If that's not happening, you have to say to yourself, I have to look at what I'm doing and I have to change something. And the single most important factor that you need to change and should change is association. You are known by your association, right?
Yes.
Birds of the same feather flock together. So if you are associating with people that love Prabhupada, that talk about Prabhupada, you are going to, if you stay around long enough with them, you are going to have that awakened in you also. So that's the whole point. And that's the point we're coming to this sadhu sangha, is because these wonderful devotees love Prabhupada, want to love Prabhupada. Jai!
But
And
last point.
Jana's Priya.
Last, and then I stop.
Wait, you
Then
can't.
the
Give
last-
him a chance. He's been
I thought
waiting.
there's someone.
Jana's Priya Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Jai Prabhu.
There you go.
Your
Oh, one
thought-
moment. It's not so loud. 1 minute. 1 minute. Jana's Priya Prabhu.
1 moment.
Yeah, your thoughts this morning, amazing.
It's not so loud. Now, I think.
Okay, Jana's
you-
Priya. Now start.
You could hear me okay?
No.
Yeah, your thoughts when you started talking this morning, you really hit it off the park. I've never heard anybody express it the way you did, and I'm very, very grateful. I feel like my life is worth living just hearing that we cannot love Krishna. There's no way. We're too fallen, too far apart, but we could love Prabhupada. And like you said it, by loving Prabhupada, then we're loving Krishna. Why? Because Prabhupada, what was Prabhupada about? Prabhupada was all about Krishna, nothing else. He had no other business but Krishna, no other business. So automatically, if we're thinking of how to please the pure devotee, then we're pleasing Krishna, and Krishna says it, that you serve the servant of the servant of the servant. So we're trying to do that, and you nailed it 100%. And I hope people take note of that and understand that, yes, we're supposed to love Krishna, but the easiest way to love Krishna is by loving Prabhupada. Why? Because Prabhupada is a confidential associate of Krishna. It's just like if, let's say in the material world, if you want to get close to a famous person, that's very difficult. So how do you do it? You find somebody that is close to that person, you become friends with that person, and then you get to that person. And Prabhupada gave an example, if you want to talk to President Nixon, can you do that? And he said, no. Why? Because he's the president, it's very hard to talk to him. But he said, if you make friends with somebody that knows him and is close to him, then you could get to him. So we're so very, very fortunate that Srila Prabhupada, of his causeless mercy, came to the Western world to put up with all nonsense and gave us the opportunity to get to know Krishna. Haribol.
Jai, Haribo.
Well, the last thing I must say. This cannot be stand learned. Okay. Impossible last. It is impossible that Prabhupada said you should love Krishna. This is my ironical joke. It is, but you should understand what Prabhupada is saying. Oh, we cannot love Krishna if we don't love Prabhupada and serve him nicely. And how to serve Prabhupada nicely? Only by book distribution or to help. Yeah, you see, always it is true. You cannot, otherwise, even it is safe.
Yes.
No. There's Kanishta Adhikari. He cannot preach. So he have no love for even Vaishnavas. He say only Krishna and my deities is most important, and then he can very easily make offense to other Vaishnavas, and then he is completely finished. But then if he become Madhyamadikari, there's also Madhyamadikari Adhikari can also be Pujari or something. But mostly it is written, Madhyam Adhikari should be preacher. And by preaching, even Krishna says, when you want to love me, give it to others. Only by this also. But we must not directly do book this good. We can help temples and book this good or whatever. And if we explain, what have Jesus Christ do? He was also book this good. Yes. Only in his Vani, he gives the words to others. Now we have the same words in book form or in tape. So whatever, we make the Jesus. Prabhupada have also made the Jesus.
He's wonderful. He's absolutely
So
wonderful.
in the
I love
end,
it.
everything is Sankirtan.
Jai!
And then if we please Prabhupada, then we are right. Then the only thing is we should love Krishna. But how? That is,
Sankirtan.
this is Sankirtan.
Prema Sankirtan, Jai!
We come always back to this point.
Wonderful example. Again, just state. Do you see how
It's not different from love to Krishna.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a
Everything
simple.
book distribution. Comes to book distribution. But on a serious note, no, because there are lots and lots of devotees out there for one reason or another that cannot go on books or
They can help the others.
Yeah.
Some others,
So
no problem.
there's lots of other service to be done. There's 9 processes of devotional service.
Yes.
So get yourself attracted, get yourself engaged to one of them. It does matter and it doesn't matter as long as it's one of the 9. But the main thing in any one of these 9 is we're saying again, focus on developing love for Krishna, developing relationship with Krishna and developing relationship with Prabhupada, because if there is relationship, love will come.
Right? You always forget it. Prabhupada, if Prabhupada would sit here and say, it is true what he say. Go for book or you destroy my head.
Misrepresented Prabhupada, you see that?
No.
That's him saying that. Prabhupada.
Only if someone don't distribute books, he can say like this. Otherwise, I would hear one army say, yes, it is like this.
Janaspriya Prabhu, please.
Yeah, one long time ago, I was accused by somebody. He told me, you're not a devotee of Krishna. You're not following. You're following Prabhupada. You're a Prabhupada follower. And at the moment, I felt offended, but then that was the greatest thing that anybody ever told me. That was the greatest thing that anybody ever told me.
Why, Prabhu? Explain to us why.
Because I didn't realize it, and it made me realize, yes, that's what he said is true. Because I had, in my little minute brain and intelligence, I had a little glimpse that the only way I could love Krishna is if I love Srila Prabhupada. If I make Srila Prabhupada smile, Krishna is going to smile. When Krishna says the pure devotee smiling, automatically we know that Krishna is pleased.
Got
Why? Because he's the representative. He's our only, there's no other connection to Krishna but Prabhupada.
Yes, yeah.
And if you distribute books, like Prabhu is saying, Prabhupada is supremely pleased. And Prabhupada said, Prabhupada was that same question many times, how could we please you the most? And on many occasions, he said, by distributing my books.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'll give you another story, which happened to me in London, actually. Very nice story that shows this point with you, with your experience also. I went to the biggest bookshop in London, it's famous. Long time ago, beginning of my Krishna conscious life. And I wanted to ask them, I wanted to see actually, do they have Prabhupada books there? And I went inside, looked for all these books, I couldn't find Prabhupada books. And I called the man and I said, do you have books? I tried to pretend I wasn't a devotee. I said, do you have books by A.C. Before I finished Prabhupada, he said, Prabhupada. And I said, yeah, him. Do you have his books? And he said, no, we don't stock his books anymore because he is known and he's famous for misrepresenting everything. I said, what do you mean? He said, everything he translates, every verse he translates to Bhakti Yoga. So the guy thought that he was actually putting Prabhupada down, and I found that was the greatest glorification for Prabhupada. But Prabhupada
Jai, Hari Bol.
Haribo. So yeah, when people told you you were not a devotee because you're a Prabhupada Bhakta, but actually he glorified you so much.
Jai.
Any other comments or questions apart from Mathurapati Prabhu?
Mama, this cannot be.
We're going on books after this today. It's 9 p.m. here.
Tomorrow, Harina, very good.
Okay, thank you so much, Janice Priya, for your wonderful, wonderful, encouraging support, inspiration, example. You're amazing. I hope one day, somehow, if Krishna, we can meet each other physically.
Yeah, well, I have a little ashram here. Anytime I'm looking for a couple people to come and go out on Harinam and distribute books and whatever.
Hawaii.
Come on the winter when it's cold over there in Naktun
This
land.
Prabhupada say Hawaii is like a heavenly planet on earth.
Yeah, Prabhupada says Hawaii hasn't entered Kali Yuga yet.
I wanted to see one time Hawaii. It's so beautiful, I think. Huh?
They call it a sannyasi graveyard.
I can combine.
Did you hear what he said?
What?
They call Hawaii a sannyasi graveyard. Graveyard where people die.
Oh,
Graveyard, sannyasi graveyard, Hawaii.
why?
Because it's so beautiful and so there's so many
Yeah,
temptations.
yeah.
Mataji.
Yeah, I know it from movies. You come to the airport in Hawaii, immediately you get some garlic. It's really true.
Yeah. Not only garland. That's why sannyasi graveyard.
Wow.
Because they
If
Okay.
we want to see Hawaii, then we can combine it and this book is
Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai Hari Bol.
consciousness ki
Jai.
jai.
Hari Hari. Where is that?
Prabhupada would say, don't say Prabhupada consciousness.